Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Guratmeti Murtibeda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sabhavedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om Shanti 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 Om. Namaste. Welcome everyone. So we are concluding the last chapter of the Karikas of Gaudapada, verse 48. He brings this very nice metaphor or analogy that I only recently, only since we went through together this verse, I could see and appreciate the deeper level of this analogy, which is the appearance of patterns when you have a stick or incense with a little bit of burning kind of fire at the end, because we move it and then we create patterns. Just as the appearance of straight and curved patterns is the motion of the firebrand, so also the appearance of the perceiver and the perceived world is an appearance moved by what? Maya Shakti. So Maya Shakti takes consciousness and somehow it lightens its power up, and then he starts moving its power, creating patterns upon consciousness, and then consciousness appears not only as all the inert objects, but even as the living creatures experience those inert objects. So everything just pattern. How come these patterns come into place? Shakti, energy, the ability to move, to stir up somehow a certain power upon consciousness to create these numberless patterns or namarupas all over the cosmos. So not only the objects, but also the perceiver object and perceived object, they are just apparent, they are just part of the show created by Maya upon consciousness by moving its energy to bring about out of the three basic energies, the subtle elements, and then all other configurations of Namarupas. Very beautiful. Just as the motionless firebrand is free from the appearance and it is unborn, so also the motionless consciousness is free from appearance and it is unborn. So going back to the same analogy, so we have the firebrand of the stick, and that is free from the any pattern, meaning to say it does not produce any pattern when it is motionless. When it's motionless, it represents consciousness, actionless, motionless, formless, and so on. So when it's not moving, meaning to say when Maya is not stirring up its power upon consciousness, and then this power of mind, power of Maya is free from appearance, and it's a free from time as well. It's referring to the power of Maya in the potential seed condition as the macrocosm causal body, okay? So everything went to sleep with Maya, so there is no motion. Maya did not activate its energies, does not bring up the appearance basically reduced here to the experiencer and the objects experienced by the experiencer, which is the most fundamental duality. So when that power of mind of Maya is free from motion, the appearance subsides, and then there is nothing that is born. And also the motionless consciousness is free. So meaning to say the consciousness is always free from whatsoever superimposition created by this Maya Shakti upon consciousness. Consciousness is always free, but the motionless consciousness appear to be more easily understood as free, but it appears to be conditioned and by this power of Maya, because the patterns are projected upon consciousness, and we miss the consciousness and we take the patterns to be real. So fundamentally, consciousness is motionless. And this consciousness is always free, but from the standpoint of the Jivatma, very, very often the Jivatma takes consciousness to be the changing phenomenal mind, because the mind is changed, it appears that consciousness is changed. No, consciousness is this motionless, changeless, limitless principle. And duality, plurality is just a mirage, a projection upon itself due to the power called Maya Shakti. So we are here following the logic of Gaudapada that proves that there is nothing really being created. Consciousness or Brahman does not create anything. And then we have to see, so but how come it comes into place and it's available for experience and transaction? It's all due to Maya Shakti. And then Maya is the cause of the creation. Yes and no. Maya is the cause of the creation, yes, but we have to remember and always edit that sentence, putting Maya is the cause of the apparent creation, because it's not real. It's just a superimposition, a projection, exactly like the superimposition of waves and ocean upon water, the true substantial nature of the waves and the ocean. And this consciousness is unborn. Therefore, Brahman is unborn. The patterns are unborn. And furthermore, they have a certain nature which is referred to as a mithya nature, not really real, but still available for experience. And then just because it's so beautiful, this passage, so I want to go over a little bit again. Alatan means a torch or incense with a handle, and then you light up the end of it. So for the sake of easy understanding, we take an incense stick, and then with that we can create patterns. Gaudapada reveals Advaitam through this example. Imagine a dark room and you are moving there, and then this glowing tip represents Brahman, the light of consciousness, which is one and always one, free from modifications. But due to this motion of Maya, it appears as many, many patterns. You need to have darkness. When this glowing tip represents Brahman, finds itself within a background of darkness, which means ignorance. We don't see the water, but we see waves in the ocean. Due to what? Ignorance of the substantial true intrinsic nature of the ocean and the waves. So the glowing tip represents Brahman. Excuse me, I forgot to turn off my thing here. The glowing tip represents Brahman. And in order for Maya to project patterns, it needs to have a background of ignorance. Darkness is ignorance. And ignorance is relevant from the standpoint of Jivatma. And this ignorance is due to excess of Tamaguna and Rajaguna structuring Jivatma's subtle body. Gaudapada called this movement of Maya alatam. The patterns are plurality, Dvaitam, because several patterns appear and disappear, and the fundamental duality, experiencer and experienced, are there. We have Advaitam, Alatam, and Dvaitam, Abhasa. So two concepts. There is a principle there which is motionless and one and the only reality, and you have the superimposition patterns upon that. Advaita Alatan and Dvaita Abhasa are caused by Adatta is Pandanam. There is a lot of basically it's caused by motion, by the Maya Shakti. In this example, Alantam, which is the light at the tip of the stick, is compared to Paramatma. It is motionless and it represents light of consciousness. The patterns created by this light of consciousness moved through the power of Maya is what we call the entire cosmos. Very beautiful. When Alantam is stationary, there are no patterns. Everything subsides in Brahman as Brahman. So it's very beautiful. So when we have Maya Shakti in motion, and then appears the universe of name, colors, and forms. Gaudapada says that consciousness, as if in the dark room, is called Maya. And this Maya Shakti has several different motions. Some of them are very violent. And they manifest as the mind and the thoughts within the mind of the Jiva Atma. Yeah. In the awakening and the dream states, consciousness seems to move, and many times violently. We contact the world of objects such as a tree or a wall or a cat, and then we say, I experience this and that. So these are all modifications or motions or movements within consciousness. The consciousness becomes kind of colored by thoughts, and that appears as if consciousness is many. Now, mind is many minds. Consciousness is one and the same, and this is the fundamental viveka that we need to do in order to get out of samsara, discrimination between consciousness and the mind. So consciousness appears to be many minds, but fundamentally, it's only one. This division, this plurality of thoughts and thought patterns, is experienced in the dream state and the awakening state, as we know. But in deep sleep state, when the mind is and the thoughts subside, consciousness alone is present without any change or any modification of thoughts. In that condition, there is no division, no plurality, so on. Consciousness under the superimposition of Maya brings about the patterns, and this is called Dvaita. Consciousness now is divided. And when we say that it's divided, we can say that consciousness, due to the motion caused by the power of mind, produce plurality where there was only oneness, one single consciousness. Now appears to be not water anymore, but plurality of waves upon the ocean. So now consciousness, due to this motion, gives rise to the concept or the perception of plurality, diversity, which is based and founded in the fundamental Dvaita ideology, Dvaita uh, philosophy, that there is a true experiencer experiencing phenomenal objects, diverse, the multitude of these objects. Consciousness becomes in rest and gives no rise to thoughts/objects. So that's why we enjoy so much a quiet mind, a peaceful mind, a mind with no thoughts. The dream of every spiritual seeker in the beginning is to develop a mind which is thought-free, and many times referred as no mind. So now I want a mind that I have full control of my mind. What do you mean? I just turn it off unless I need to process some experience, and then I invite the thoughts, But nobody managed to do that. You understand? Nobody managed. I'm the master of my mind. No, you managed to suppress your mind entirely, becoming a Nirvikalpa yogi, or you just accept that the mind changed. And there will be a division, experiencer and multitude of objects of experience in those two states, awakening and dream state. Bottom line, consciousness under the superimposition caused of the motion of Maya Shakti appears as the universe of many patterns. We see curves, we see lines going up and down. It can be very fast to play with a firebrand in a dark space. I saw the other day one guy doing a show on a stage. He was created with some very modern kind of lights, and he was not doing much movement, but it was just a show, beautiful show, creating patterns out of light. Just like one awaker gets divided into the perceiver and perceived in the dream state, one Atma, seamless, gets divided into subject and object because of the seeming motion upon consciousness due to Maya Shakti. It's unbelievable, yes, but it is a show produced by motion energies of Maya. Quantum physics are coming to understand that all these configurations that we believe to be particles that bring about matter, tangible matter, are just patterns due to energies in motion. Energy in motions brings about a sense of even solidity of this physical material universe. Vedanta goes one further step and say that consciousness in motion is the world. So all these statements, we need to understand that they need to be purified in their statements very carefully. Vedanta, when it says that the universe, the cosmos, is nothing but consciousness in motion. So for us, we understand that, but it's so pervasive. These statements so often create a sense that consciousness moves, which is a contradiction, because consciousness is a karta. So that's why I take the liberty to edit some of these expositions of Swamiji, because Swamiji is teaching for a crowd of 100 people and people on different levels. Even though he's doing the Karikas here, he still says that Vedanta says that consciousness in motion is the world. Many people edit it in their own mind that consciousness does not move, but consciousness, under the motion of Maya Shakti appears as the world. Right, Lynn? And then he talks about the 48th verse, when the firebrand is at rest, the firebrand is one and the same. And then he starts coming in this verse 48 to establish if there is or if there isn't a relationship such as cause and effect between the firebrand and the patterns. Very beautiful analysis. No? Is there a relationship, Korean Karana, cause and effect between the tip of this firebrand and the patterns that it was created? It says no, they are not, there is no relationship either of cause and effect or effect and cause. Similarly, in deep sleep state, the world disappears and consciousness alone is present without any motion. The sleeping person cannot say in sleep that other people who are awake are experiencing the world, because in sleep he cannot know that others are even present. Even if there are people experiencing the world while someone is sleeping, it is because consciousness, Maya, is superimposed patterns and is being experienced only on the fraction of the population of this planet who are in deep sleep during the night, usually. So the other part, people, they are in the awakened state. We go through these three states every day, in many other sub-states as well. But fundamentally, you are either dreaming or you are awake or you are totally sleeping. No. So we can never say that because I wake up and I see that the world was here as before, and then it means to say that this world is real because it was here before, and furthermore, there are people that are awake on the other side of the planet while I'm sleeping here. So the world did not go anywhere. The world is real. And the point to be understood here is that on the other side, humanity is under a different mental state. They are awake and transacting, okay? It means to say Maya is superimposed motion, creating a state, and the world means to say the awakened state. So conscious Maya Shakti motion creates these three states. And no motion, no state, deep sleep, or state of no division. Therefore, don't try to justify the reality of this world by following the logic that even when I'm in deep sleep, there are people awake and transacting on the other side of the globe. Because that is happening only because consciousness is apparently under the motion of Maya, and therefore all Jivatmas there are experiencing duality, plurality, diversity, is all due to Maya's Shakti. It's a condition. If all living beings would sleep together all over the planet, who could talk about an existing, experienced world, physical, material world? No, let's do it. Let's get everybody to sleep. And then there is nobody to testify that, no, the world was present during this period of time, because everybody has made an experiment to sleep together. The motionless consciousness is free from appearance and no appearance, and it is unborn. Verse 49, when the firebrand is in motion, appearance do not come from elsewhere, nor do they go apart from that motionless firebrand, nor do they enter the firebrand. So he's trying to scrutinize this inquiry into any possible relationship as cause and effect between the patterns and the firebrand. Because when the firebrand is in motion, appearance, the firebrand is in motion, appearance do not come from elsewhere. You say, where this firebrand is coming? Where this motion, where this appearance are coming? Is this from the firebrand or it is from the motion? Okay. So it says that when firebrand is in motion, appearance do not come from elsewhere. It's not that come from somewhere. And they don't disappear when the motion stops, nor do they enter into the firebrand. So the firebrand is not producing the appearance, and when the motion stops, the firebrand is not taking back the appearance. It's altogether different phenomenon, okay, which is called mithya. The appearance do not come from anywhere. Don't think that somebody is creating. Appearance come from anywhere. It's just to help us to understand there is no principle, there is no entity cause in this universe. It's not coming from a creator, a cause, and they don't go somewhere when the appearance disappears due to the motionless state of Maya. When Maya gets tired, he just wants to rest. So it's not that they all go back to the tip of the incense. Okay, no, there's no such a thing. So they do not emerge out of the firebrand. Since they do not have substantiality, they are just appearance. They do not come from the fire. They were never really created. They were never substantially created. Appearance will be the same only with regard to consciousness, also because of the similarity of appearance. They do not emerge out of the firebrand since they do not have substantiality. So the patterns have no substantiality. Appearance will be the same only with regard to consciousness, also because of the similarity of appearance. So I have to see what Swamiji says of this verse, because I did not understand it, where Gaudapada is going with it. When consciousness, the verse 51, when consciousness is in apparent motion, appearances do not come from elsewhere, nor do they go apart from that motionless consciousness, nor do they enter consciousness. So his father, maybe he's answering by the subsequent verse. So when consciousness appears as moving, you see, light many times appears as moving because the objects we see that field moving gives us the impression that light is also moving. No, light is a motionless principle. When consciousness is apparently in motion, appearances do not come from anywhere else, nor do they go apart from that motionless light of consciousness, nor they enter back into consciousness. So he is again and again establishing the no cause and effect relationship between consciousness and the world. And we could say that there is only one relationship between Maya and the cosmos, Maya and the universe. But then, knowing very well Gaudapada, it's better we don't even play with that concept, because he's going to get back to us and say, which universe? It's a magic show. So these motions and patterns, they do not disappear going back to consciousness. They do not emerge out of consciousness since they have no substantiality. They are not real. They are mithya. They are projection. They are mirage. They do not emerge out of consciousness. Consciousness is real, and the universe is just an apparent superimposition or projection. Since they have no cause and effect relationship, and since they are indefinable, indefinable, always, they are known to be unreal. We can never understand how Maya does project this tangible universe in regards to our sense organs, of course. We never understand how does Maya do that. So they are beyond, it's beyond our ability to understand it. So we come to the conclusion that it must be unreal or an apparent reality, such as the projection of a mirage. They have no cause-effect relationship. They have no substantiality. What do you mean that they do not emerge out of consciousness because they do not have substantiality? What is the meaning of this passage? Since they do not have any substantiality, you know, it appears that it has a certain substance in themselves, but this substance does not belong to the patterns themselves, right, Lynn?
Yeah. This language is, thank you for explaining it, because when I was reading these, I couldn't get that at all. And I think I need to spend some time with this analogy to really get it and translate it into my experience.
Yeah, yeah.
And my understanding of the world.
So the point I'm bringing here is that this phenomenal world or universe of columns, it does not emerge out of consciousness. We know that consciousness did not originate or create anything. There is no cause and effect relationship. If there is a cause and effect, we say that Maya is the cause and the effect is the world, but the world has no substantiality because it's a holograph, such as a holograph projection only. Since they do not have substantiality, because it appears to have substantiality, and even it appears that the substantiality of all the patterns is one and the same sat. Okay, it is Brahman. When we say that everything is Brahman, even the patterns projected upon is only Brahman. So Brahman is the real substance of this universe when we use this word substance as the true intrinsic nature of everything, you know. But here when we say they do not have substantiality, it's pointing to the fact that it appears to have substantiality, but it's not self-contained. The substantiality is lent by consciousness of Brahman. And then the universe appears to have some substantiality of its own, but does not, you know?
Yeah, because if in reality, by definition, is non-dual, so how could it create a second reality?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the substantiality of the water project upon the sand, the desert sand? What is the substantiality of that water? It does not have substantiality because all there is desert sand, okay? Under certain conditions due to the principles and the physical optic laws of Maya. It appears to have a substantiality, meaning to say, this is water, is going to be, it's just what I need, yeah? But it does not have. All there is there is desert sand. Yeah? So there is a substance behind every pattern project upon consciousness. This substance is consciousness. And the patterns or the namarupas or the configurations, they do not have their own substantiality. They get a sat existence is sometimes even a reflect consciousness status as the jivas, but it's all coming directly from pure limitless consciousness to real Brahman. So they do not have their own substantiality or reality. Reality is given or landed, or they borrow reality and substantiality from Brahman. Since they have no cause and relationship with Brahman or consciousness, and since it's something incomprehensible to the human intellect, we conclude that they are not real. We cannot infer any reality to this world, although it provides us with utilitarian value when we are in the awakening dream world. We are navigating to this physical material vyavaharika. And as the awaker, as the visual, we find substantiality, but it's a conditional substantiality, so a conditional assertion, because when I step out to become the dreamer, the awakened world disappears, which is enough of a proof that it's not real, because reality is that which is always ever present. Since they have no cause and effect relationship, since they are indefinable, we conclude that they are not real. In these 4 verses, Gaudapada extracts the powerful message of his teachings, which is Ajativada, no creation, no origination. That is just an appearance. What is the relationship between firebrand, which is one without a second, therefore Advaitam, and all the diverse patterns which are pluralistic in nature, in numbers? The normally given answer is always wrong. We say that there is a relationship of cause and effect. We say that it is that the firebrand is the cause and the patterns are the products born out of the firebrand, and therefore there is a relationship, a Karika Karana relationship between the firebrand and the patterns, the universe. Gaudapada says that there is no relationship, Karika Karana, in any sense. A relationship can exist only between 2 separate entities. So what is the relationship between the ocean, the wave, and the water? So is there a relationship between, even if we take only the wave and the ocean? And if we bring the true substantial nature of both, there is no relationship between the firebrand, which goes to the water, and the varieties of patterns such as ocean and waves. A relationship is not possible when there is only one thing. We assume a relationship to exist because we are considering that the Namarupas are independent, true entities standing on their own. We assume a relationship because we are counting firebrand as an entity, and then the patterns as many other entities. Gaudapada says that patterns cannot be counted as another second entity at all. Patterns are different names given to different forms caused by the motion of Maya Shakti. Firebrand is alone there. The only reality, and patterns are different names given to the motion caused by Maya Shakti. They are never a separate, independent, self-contained entity at all. A child born out of a mother, A child born out of the mother can be counted as a second entity because the mother and the child can exist independent of each other. So then we can accept the cause-effect relationship between mother, father, and their children. Then there can be a relationship between the two. Patterns do not come out of the firebrand, as we have established already. They do not gain an independent existence, such as the child born of a couple. Patterns are not entities, things, or substance on their own, but they are only appearances due to the violent Maya Shakti that projects patterns in that which is only consciousness. Therefore, they cannot be counted as separate, independent entities. If they cannot be counted as such, there is no more than one principle operating. Therefore, there is no cause and effect relationship possible. With the firebrand and patterns, we should assimilate this principle that there is no cause and effect relationship because there is no division there, and that there is only a firebrand with different names and appearance. You understand why I want to come back to this? It's so beautiful, so profound, this analogy. And I never gave it much attention to understand it on a more deep level. With the firebrand and patterns created by the motion power of Maya Shakti, we should once for all assimilate that there is no cause and relationship between consciousness and the world. All there is the firebrand, meaning to say consciousness, and then the motion caused by Maya Shakti projects different namarupas or appearances or patterns or configurations of the gunas. Then we can extend this and say that consciousness, which is another name for Brahman, Turiya, and many others, is only one. We can say that Brahman in the world cannot have any relationship because there is only Brahman. The world is just a name that we somehow superimpose upon consciousness. Is another name given for Brahman. It's something that does not exist separate from Brahman, the same way the waves do not exist separate from the ocean, in the same way the waves and the ocean do not exist separate from water, their substantial true nature. Because of certain patterns of appearance, we have given a new name to the water. We call it the ocean, we call it the waves, we call it the world. But the world is not a new entity the same way that waves and the ocean is a new entity apart from water. There is only water, there is only consciousness. Therefore, Brahman in the world cannot and will never have a true cause and effect relationship. This is the most beautiful logic to prove that this universe was never created, because creation requires a cause, and we don't find anything that can cause this creation fundamentally, because it's just Namarupa. This is Adjectivada presented by Gaudapada. Gaudapada is not done with us yet, and he presents us 4 questions. He says, when the firebrand is in motion, we can talk about different patterns. Okay, do the patterns come out of the firebrand? First question. Do the patterns come from outside of the firebrand? Where are the patterns coming from? If it is an entity, it must become from the firebrand. or it must become from something outside of the stick and the fire at the tip of the stick. Do the particles come from outside or it comes from the firebrand? And the other two questions is, when the firebrand comes to rest, where the universe of so many patterns have gone, do they went to rest outside of themselves, outside of the stick, outside of the firebrand, or they just resolve themselves inside back into the firebrand? I mean, these Mahatmas, sometimes they almost seem to be crazy because they are so intelligent in presenting us with this process of vichara, so that we can sharpen our mind and understand that we are the only reality as consciousness. Following the first two questions, the normal answer will be that the patterns come out of the firebrand. Oh yeah, no, they came out of the firebrand. And then if you are a good Vedantint, you say, no, no, the firebrand is not cause. It is the motion, the Maya Shakti is causing it, okay? Which is the theory that there is a creation, it comes in a cyclical pattern, and it's caused by Maya Shakti, such as the dream world is caused by Nidra Shakti. Both powers belong to Maya, of course. So the normal wrong answer is that they come from the firebrand. Some more smart people will say, no, no, it comes from the motion, which is Maya, the greatest, trickiest, illusionists. Patterns do not come out of the firebrand because the patterns do not come at all, because they are not a second entity by themselves. They do not contain any substance. It appears and disappears depending on the Maya Shakti, the ability to move these three energies to produce the elements, the chemical elements, the physical elements, and bring about all these patterns we call the objects of the universe. These patterns, they only appear as solid substance, and the solidity belongs to the firebrand alone. Patterns do not come out of the firebrand, nor do they come from outside of the firebrand. The fact that the patterns cannot exist separate from a firebrand shows that they are not discrete substance, but only appearances. The answer of these two questions is that the patterns do not originate neither from the firebrand nor from outside of the firebrand. They do not originate at all. It's just a mere mithya pattern, an apparent pattern we call the universe or the cosmos. They even appear to be solid, and they even appear as if the solidity belongs to the firebrand alone. Patterns do not come out of the firebrand, nor do they come from outside of the firebrand. The solidity belongs to the firebrand means to say this: the reality we sense in this universe of Namarupas belongs, the sense of reality belongs to consciousness, which is present as the firebrand, never belongs to the pattern themselves, because they just borrow a certain apparent reality from the firebrand representing consciousness. They only appear as solid substance, and this appearance of solidity belongs to consciousness alone, the only reality that somehow allows this superimposition and provides this superimposition with apparent reality. Why we can never say that it's absolutely unreal? Because it's available for experience and transaction. There is a certain element of reality to these patterns called the universe. But this element of reality is called media reality, that which is only available for experience and transaction, and depending on the state of the mind of the Jivatma. It's conditional as well. And how many things we experience in our day-to-day experience of life, which is available for experience, but are not there in reality, you know? We do it every night when we go to the dream state. We do experience it, but it's not really there. What is in there? Consciousness modified by a certain mental condition called the dream mind, the mind of the dreamer, which perceives this dream world due to the impressions it has collected during the awakening day-to-day experience of life. Patterns do not come out of the consciousness and they don't come out from a different order, or consciousness number 2 provides consciousness number 1 with patterns. Okay, let me import some patterns here. The fact that the patterns cannot exist separate from consciousness shows that they are only appearances. Bottom line, there is no origination at all of any of that. It's just a projection such as the dream state. Are you following Mark and Sylvia?
Yes. Yeah, it's pure genius the way he pinpoints the whole of Mythia just into the movement of the firebrand. It's pure genius. Yeah, loving it.
The normal, when the firebrand comes to rest, where does the world patterns and namarupas go? Do they go resolved from where they came from outside, or they all come from consciousness as represent as the firebrand? The normal answer is that the patterns go inside of the firebrand. Okay, they go back. And here in our teachings, usually depending on the stage or the level of the teachings, we will say that they resolve themselves back into consciousness. They come from consciousness, they resolve themselves back in consciousness. But we know very well that those are ajaropas that later on are retract as apavadas, the teachings that serve at certain intermediary stage. The normal answer is that the universe, name, colors, and forms it resolves back into consciousness. Gaudapada says that all these namarupas, all these patterns produced by the power of motion, of violent motion of Maya, Gaudapada says that this pattern never go back to consciousness, nor do they go to outside somewhere in another corner of consciousness number 2 or 3. No? They don't resolve themselves into the conscious light of firebrand, and then they don't go resolve themselves anywhere else, okay? Because they are not present at all. They don't have substance. They are only mere appearances. Patterns do not come from inside nor outside, or do not go inside or outside of firebrand, period. They only appear and disappear from moment to moment, depending on our mental state, meaning to say, awaker, dreamer, and deep sleeper. There is no such substance called namarupas or universe or the patterns of Maya. There is no such a thing as the duality, perceiver and perceived, experiencer and experience. And furthermore, there is no relationship of cause and effect between consciousness and the duality, which appears as the knower and the known. No relationship can exist between these two entities because there are no two entities, there is only one, and that is consciousness, the firebrand. In the same way, Gaudapada says that one should never say Brahman and the world. We say Brahman and the world. Brahman creates the world, and then the world resolves back into Brahman, and so on. Only in the preliminary states of the Upanishad teachings, we present the division, Brahman and the world. And once we present the division, we have to immediately back into having to establish cause and effect relationship. If we take the universe to be real, we immediately get into trouble. The trouble is what has caused, what has originated, what has created. And then we are in the land of delusion, trying to figure out something which is just exact like looking for the black cat, a blind man looking for the black cat in a dark room in which the black cat is not. We're never going to find answer to that. Only in the preliminary states we teach this division, and we even say that there is a cause and effect relationship, but later on we just retract that teaching. During Karma, Dharma, and Upasana, we present this cause and effect relationship, and then we elaborate several theories of cause, origination, creation of the universe. But once we come to the Yin Yoga of the Upanishads, we never say that God created the world. We don't want to reinforce this piece of ignorance that creates this division, consciousness and the world, Brahman and the world. They are not two separate entities. Brahman, God alone, is just appearing as the world. At the most, we can say that. Consciousness is appearing, is similarly appearing as the world. Consciousness is God, is the firebrand, and the world are the infinite patterns created by the energies of Maya. This is why in the 11th chapter of the Gita, Krishna said that all these things that you experience, Arjuna, are not the world, but it's me alone, consciousness of God. Do not close your eyes in order to get in contact with Ishvara and develop this understanding of the nature of Ishvara, Ishvara Darshana. You do not need to close your eyes. That will only reveal your ignorance. Ayani never closed his eyes in order to understand that everything is just Brahman. No, it's very nice. It escaped me. Actually, I did not read this part today, but when I did it in Portuguese, I don't remember that. This is very nice. There is no point in close your eyes to contact consciousness as your inner superior true nature self, because consciousness is the substrate of all the nama-rupas you perceive when you open your eyes. If you close your eyes in order to go deep, I was associated to a guru there in California at the time that things were popping up for me. And he had this theory that he had to go into samadhi to go deeper and deeper, deeper to connect with the self. You know? He used to spend many hours every day in samadhi trying to find a connection with the self. And the Swami is saying here that this only reveals your ignorance. A mature inquirer, a mature yoni, never close his eyes in order to remember or try to remember or try to hold on to the knowledge Aham Brahmasmi. You understand? Because he sees I'm here soaking, in the ocean of one single substance, which is Brahman, conscious existence of one single nature, non-dual. What is Brahman? What is Ishvara is really a wrong question. What is Brahman? What is Ishvara is the wrong question. The right question is where there is no Brahman, where there is no Ishvara, where is God? Where is it not? So never believe that you have to meditate and develop a certain mental state to go deep inside your stomach or anywhere to get connection with God or Brahman. This is ignorance. Brahman is the only reality. Every thought pattern is there project upon the only reality, which is Brahman, Satchitananda, conscious existence of limitless nature. Why I have to look for Brahman? I just have to understand that all there is Brahman of Ananda, limitless non-dual nature, and I am Brahman, of course. Cannot say that the only reality is Brahman, and then I say, but I'm out. No? Oh, no, I understood. All there is Brahman, all there is consciousness. This is just a projection. But no, I don't give up my sense of separatedness and independence. I'm out of it. I exclude myself. Everything is in Brahman as Brahman, but I hold on to my sense. I am a wave. I am a wave. I am a wave. When you really understand that, you can no longer do that. How can you exclude yourself of something which is one without a second, the only reality? And then you say, okay, so it seems I'm going to have to finally enough claim that I am consciousness, limitless nature, non-dual, full. You have to claim it because, by logic, you see, you are soaking in that which is the substratum of all these patterns. It's my true nature. It's the nature of everything. If it's the nature of everything, why it should not be my true nature? You understand? Limitless consciousness. So therefore, there is no relationship between Brahman and the Jiva-Atma and the world. When Maya moves its energy, the world is projected. When it stops moving its energy, and then the world is resolved. It does not go back anywhere. It's just poof, off of existence, of apparent existence. It is the world in motion. Motion is consciousness under the spell of Maya, receiving the superimposition of the energy as Mayas, which projects all the patterns we call the universe. When there is no motion of Mr. Maya, we call this is Brahman. There are no thoughts, there are no objects. This is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. This is ignorance. But Brahman is always there. Paramatma is always there, regardless of these superimpositions or no superimpositions due to the violent motions created by Maya. This is exactly what has been said in this verse, and we'll see more of that in the next class. We don't want to move from this topic anymore. Okay.
This is just gobsmacking beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, Gaudapada is what an artist. How beautiful.
Yeah,
I just
wonderful. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay, so we're gonna wait until next Monday to go back to Gaudapada. This coming Friday we do Gita, okay? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Namaste. Good idea to do some nididhyasana upon this last verse, of course. Okie dokie. See you later, alligator. In a while, crocodile. Namaste.
bye-bye.
Brilliant.
Bye.
Thank you, Arlindo.
Thanks.
This will be my class for tomorrow as well. I'll re-listen to this.
That's wonderful. Yeah, and do some good nididhyasana. Namaste.
Yeah, marvelous stuff. Thanks, Arlindo. Okay.
Bye-bye.